for spying on U.S. lawyers and journalists who met with Julian Assange while he was living in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where he had political asylum. The lawsuit is being filed as Britain prepares to extradite the WikiLeaks founder to the United States, where he faces up to 175 years in prison for violating the Espionage Act by publishing classified documents exposing U.S. war crimes in Iraq and Afghanistan. Assange spent nearly 7 years inside the embassy from 2012 till April 2019, when Metropolitan Police entered the embassy, arrested him after Ecuador revoked his political asylum. The lawsuit filed Monday accuses the Spanish security firm UC Global of spying on Assange and his visitors inside the embassy on behalf of the CIA. UC Global and the company's director, David Morales, are also named as defendants in the new lawsuit, which comes less than a year after Yahoo News revealed the CIA considered abducting and possibly assassinating Assange while he was in the embassy. On Monday, several plaintiffs in the lawsuit spoke during an online news conference. This is Deborah Herbeck. She's a media lawyer who visited Assange at the Ecuadorian embassy in London several times to discuss sensitive legal matters.
On arrival, there was a strict protocol for the protection of Julian, we were told. Passports, mobile phones, cameras, laptops, recording devices, and other electronic equipment were turned over to the security guards in the lobby. We learned much later, through a criminal investigation under the supervision of a court in Spain, that while visitors like me were meeting with Julian in the embassy conference room, the guards next door were taking apart our phones, removing and photographing SIM cards, and we believe downloading data from our electronic equipment. Their boss, David Morales from UC Global, who appears to have been recruited by the CIA through associates of Sheldon Adelson during a visit to a tech conference, was making regular trips to Washington, D.C., to New York, to Las Vegas, reportedly to hand over thumb drives and to receive further instructions from his U.S. government handlers. In other words, during our meetings with Julian at the embassy, recordings of our confidential conversations and the contents of our electronic devices were being delivered into the hands of the United States government. I'm a New York lawyer. I have the right to assume that the U.S. government is not listening to my private and privileged conversations with my clients, and that information about other clients and cases I may have on my phone or laptop are secure from illegal government intrusion. This is not just a violation of our constitutional rights. This is an outrage.
That's, again, the attorney, Deborah Herbeck, who is a plaintiff in the new lawsuit against the CIA and
this is what they do. So who are they serving?
Pompeo for spying on her and other visitors when they met with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. We're joined now by Richard Roth, the lead attorney who filed the lawsuit on Monday. Lay out the case, Richard.
Hi, Amy. Thank you for having me. So the case is very simple and very troubling. Essentially, there are these individuals who work at the embassy who are just there to essentially monitor the traffic that comes in. What we learned was that through a Spanish court proceeding, we learned that, in fact, UC Global went to a convention and presented a convention where Sheldon Adelson, as Deborah Herbeck said, essentially introduced them to brought them in to the wings of the CIA to not only just monitor who comes to us visit Julian Assange at the Ecuadorian embassy, but to actually take their phones, their cell phone, their laptops, any kind of recording devices, and to image them while they were inside, because when they walked in, they had to leave them with the security company. We also learned that they were streaming, that they actually had streaming microphones and cameras inside the embassy for meetings with Julian Assange. We learned this in the Spanish court proceeding, and there are witnesses who essentially were employees at UC Global thinking that they were just doing their job and learning from Morales Morales that all of this was going back to, quote, American intelligence. It was going back to the Americans. It was going back to the dark side. And these individuals came forward and told essentially the Spanish court and others that they did not understand at the time that they were part of this enterprise that tape recorded everything that Julian Assange did. And what's very troubling about it is not only is it a violation of the Fourth Amendment, your right to privacy, but you have lawyers, you have journalists, you have doctors who went to visit Julian Assange. And a doctor went in, there's a doctor-patient privilege, there's an attorney-client privilege. And so not only did they literally listen in on the conversations, but any client of, for example, Deborah Urbex, who had information on her laptop, not even Assange's, was the U.S. government now has privy to. So it's very troubling. Deborah's comment that it's an outrage is square on point. And so what we've done is we've commenced an action to essentially let the world know and to seek damages for these plaintiffs who are journalists, who are lawyers, who essentially went to the embassy, unbeknownst to them, had everything of theirs recorded and imaged, and clearly a violation of the Fourth Amendment. So we've sued Morales, UC Global, we've sued the CIA, and we've sued Mike Pompeo for the outrageous conduct. On top of that, Mike Pompeo, in his very first address when he became CIA director, let it be known he was going to go after Julian Assange. He called Julian Assange and WikiLeaks a non-state hostile intelligence agency. And he called Julian a fraud. And there's plenty of evidence,
Nazi
more
Germany,
we got through discovery, that
just
essentially
before
would
the
lead
war
one to
and during the
conclude
war.
that the CIA went in, took UC Global, and put it under its wing to allow it to record and listen to everything that Julian Assange was saying.
Richard, I want to go to that clip of then CIA Director Mike Pompeo in 2017 talking about WikiLeaks in his first address as CIA Director.